Hey Clone Club, my name is Mel and I'm here to recap episode 301 of Orphan Black titled The Weight of This Combination, which aired April 18th, 2015. First off, to remind everyone where we last saw our clones at the end of season 2, here is a quick summary. Rachel had a pencil stabbed into her eye by Sarah, who was trying to escape from Dyad with Kira. Allison and Donnie were working things out after burying Dr. Leakey's body together in their garage. Cosima was on her deathbed when Kira gave her Professor Duncan's notes hidden in a book. Helena was taken by the military faction that Paul is a part of, and Sarah learns about Project Castor, and she meets a male Castor clone, and Wikipedia has named him Rudy. So for this recap, I'm going to focus on a specific character and summarize what happened to them in this episode. So let's start with Helena. The episode opens up with a picturesque scene of Helena's baby shower in Allison's backyard, where everything is covered in the typical spring colors, and the one source of dark color there is in the form of Sarah, who is dressed in all black. Allison and Felix are in the stereotypical suburban clothing as they tend to the food. Felix tending to the grilling of ox liver, while Allison breaks out lots of cupcakes. Kira is having fun in a fairy costume, while a healthy Cosima joins them with food from Ukraine while she's wearing a Ukrainian outfit. The blissful atmosphere that Helena has conjured turns dark side when a scorpion appears from her dress. This causes Helena to wake up in a wooden box with a talking scorpion, which is voiced by Tatiana Maslany herself as her only companion. We later learn that Helena has been in that box for almost 48 hours, and the scorpion suggests to Helena that she's being tested. Obviously, the scorpion's a hallucination, one that Helena is very familiar with from her past. But there is a woman watching the box, and she orders Miller, the soldier Castor clone that we saw at the very end of the finale in season 2, to release Helena. That's the last we see of Helena in this episode. Next, I'll move on to Rachel, who is immediately in surgery to remove the pencil that was stabbed into her eye. Because of Rachel's predicament, Delphine is called in to take temporary control over Rachel's duties, making Delphine the new Rachel. I'll get back to Rachel in a moment, but I wanted to quickly get into Sarah's adventure this episode as it coincides with Rachel. So Sarah's brought back into Dyad by Delphine to speak to Rudy, the Scarface Castor clone that Sarah met at the end of season 2. Sarah then learns that Rudy and his Castor brother Seth, the clone with the mustache, tried to kidnap Crystal, an unaware Lita clone, before Dyad had interfered. Seth escaped while they captured Rudy, who only wants to talk to Sarah. So when Sarah talks to Rudy, it's very clear that he knows everyone that Sarah is associated with, which upsets her. Before leaving, Rudy advises for Sarah to count her sisters. Immediately she does this and learns that Helena is still missing. She later learns from Mrs. S, who had just gotten beaten on by Seth for information about Professor Duncan, that she gave Helena to Paul in exchange for his help to get Sarah and Kira out of Dyad. Sarah is furious by the betrayal and storms out. Delphine then finds Sarah and begs her to impersonate Rachel, as Topside has sent a cleaner named Ferdinand to see if Lita's security has been breached. Initially, Sarah refused, but she reconsiders when she tells Delphine to help her find Helena. With Felix's help, Sarah is transformed into Rachel, and I have to say, even though Tatiana plays both Rachel and Sarah, when she played Sarah pretending to be Rachel, you can easily see Sarah seeping out from Rachel instead of instantly seeing Tatiana playing Rachel like she normally does. Hope that made sense, but it was fantastic to see. Great performance. So anyways, Ferdinand arrives and questions Delphine and fake Rachel about possible security breaches, aka Paul, before Helena is brought up. With the news of Castor having Helena, Ferdinand wants to speak with Sarah, who Topside believes is still in Dyad's custody. Delphine reluctantly agrees, which surprises Sarah. When they get to Sarah's former cell, Sarah is surprised to see herself, which is actually Allison pretending to be Sarah for the second time, waiting there for them. 2 clone impersonations in one scene. I'm blown away already. So Ferdinand does some questionable things as he interrogates fake Sarah, like feeling her up, before Delphine intervenes with a lie about the postponement of Sarah's surgery. He was feeling her up for any surgical scars, which Allison didn't have. Before leaving, Ferdinand gets fake Rachel to agree to meet with him to talk about Helsinki. Now, as Sarah deals with Ferdinand, as she continues to pose as Rachel, Delphine interrogates the real Rachel, who's now in recovery from her surgery. Delphine learns from Rachel that she is aware of Helsinki, which was the operation where 6 self-aware Lita clones were killed off by Topside alongside 32 civilians as collateral damage, which is something Rachel wasn't supposed to be aware of. Sarah learns of Helsinki through Ferdinand, and she's horrified to learn that it's already in motion. So Sarah tries to warn Allison, but Ferdinand unknowingly stops her, which leads to Sarah trying to strangle him in the guise of one of his BDSM ploys with Rachel. Delphine intervenes and blackmails Ferdinand into calling off Helsinki before his henchmen could chloroform Allison and her family. Sarah knows for certain at this point that Dyad isn't interested in saving Helena, as Delphine is more focused on saving Dyad. Another part that Allison played, aside from impersonating Sarah for Delphine, was that she planned to run for school trustee to prevent her kids from changing school districts, which would happen if her opponent Marcy won. Donnie was also fired, so money is becoming an issue for the Hendrickses. In regards to Cosima, she's still sick, but she doesn't need those breathing tubes anymore. She doesn't have a fever, and her color is returning. While she's healing at Felix's place, Cosima tries to talk to Kira about the weird moment between them where Kira woke Cosima up to read to her, and yet Cosima remembers feeling like she was outside of her body before Kira woke her up. It's hard for either of them to explain, yet they know that something happened between them. I think Kira is more special than science can understand. I think she actually healed Cosima somehow. Kira also has the nitrogen canister that Helena left behind, but it doesn't look like Cosima is aware of it. Also, at one point, Delphine visits Cosima, only to tell her that while she's trying to treat all the Lita clones, all of Cosima's sisters, equally, it means that she can't be with Cosima as a lover, while also being the new Rachel. So, sadly, Cosima and Delphine break up, even though it clearly looks like both of them don't want that, but it's done. So then later on, Cosima gets a checkup from Scott, who plans on leaving the project due to the dangers the caster clones are bringing to them. Yet before Scott could leave, Cosima shows him Professor Duncan's book that has his hidden genetic scribblings inside. It's possibly his cipher key that they've been trying to look for. So Scott's very interested in the book and what it can mean if they can decrypt it, and Cosima wants Scott's help in decrypting the book, but she wants to keep it a secret from everyone else. And it seems like Scott's okay with it, but that's all the matter that the book brings up. And then the final scene of the episode is Seth breaking Rudy out, and they acknowledge each other as brothers, just like how the Lita clones, which is Sarah, Allison, Helena, and Cosima, consider themselves as sisters. So Rudy breaking out ends there, and the only big scene for Mrs. S was her getting beat up by Seth and then having to tell Sarah about Helena. Felix mainly stuck with Sarah throughout the episode. Detective Bell wasn't seen. Paul wasn't seen. Marion wasn't seen. She's apparently went overseas to cover Sarah at topside. Cal wasn't seen, although he was mentioned. And yep, that's pretty much it for the characters. So my overall thoughts of the story would have to be that I'm excited to learn more about the Castor clones. It seems like the Castor clones were self-aware from the start, and I wonder why that was when the Lita clones were unaware about their clonage. It also seems like Seth and Rudy may have gone rogue from Paul's command, so if that's the case, why are they trying to kidnap Lita clones? It seems like another mystery inside of a mystery. Also, when Seth was interrogating Mrs. S, I got the impression that something may have been wrong with him, because at one point he gripped his head as if he was hearing something that wasn't there. So I'm thinking if the Lita clones show reproductive problems that resulted in respiratory issues, then maybe the Castor clones have a health issue of their own, maybe a mental one. So in regards to the Castor clones, we saw Mark the Prolethean clone for the majority of season 2, but he wasn't in the premiere. Instead, we got more Rudy, the Scarface captured clone, Seth the mustache clone, and then Miller the soldier clone. And then I believe my favorite part of the episode would have to be the double clone impersonations. Tatiana Maslany was truly fantastic with both of her performances, and my head hurts just thinking about the technicalities that went behind that scene, so I can't imagine how Tatiana processed that scene for herself. I mean, Tatiana already plays Sarah, Rachel, and Allison, but to see her play Sarah as Rachel and Allison as Sarah, it was just truly remarkable because I could still see the original clone she's playing bleed through the clone they were trying to impersonate. I really hope that made sense, but you have to see this scene to understand. But either way, Tatiana continues to surprise me with her talent. Just when I think she can't top her previous performance, she does. So bravo, Tatiana Maslany. So my predictions for the next episode would have to be that the Castor clones wreak more havoc on everyone. I believe Helena will continue to be tested by the military, even though we don't know why they want her. Do they even know she's pregnant? I do hope we get to meet Crystal, because seeing her in the security footage is not enough. I hope Paul returns because he has a lot of explaining to do about Castor, and I feel like with his association with Castor revealed, it seems like everything before that just seems like a lie. It's like the Paul of season 1 and season 2 was all just a facade. It's like, was what he had with Sarah even real? Was his ploy with Rachel and Dyad even real? I mean, was everything he fed to Dyad, or why he had to be stuck with Dyad even true? Or was that all just a cover story to get him into Dyad for Castor? Just, Paul has got a lot of explaining to do. End of story right there. I also believe that Sarah is going to try to get Helena back while fighting off the Castor clones. So it's going to be fights on all sides with her, maybe. So that's all I can say about my predictions, but I can't wait to see how season 3 unfolds. I'm so excited. So thank you all for watching this recap. I hope the format was to your liking. Leave a comment below if you want to share your own favorite moments or characters from the episode, or if you want to share your own predictions for the season. I'd love to hear them. So, as usual, leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and I hope you come back for episode 302. Talk to you then. Bye, Clone Club.